Hi everybody, Patty Harrison for AdChat DFW. We have Matt Miller, who is the Association of Independent Commercial Producers CEO and President, and he's with us today to talk a little bit about the Next Awards. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
So we sort of know what AICP is. We do know what the AICP awards are. So the Next Awards are what?
So about 11 years ago, something interesting started happening, and I'll sort of blame BMW Films for this. We started getting work entered in the show that didn't feel like other work. It felt different. And the more and more we discussed the world of media, back in the early 2000s, we started realizing that it was shifting, and that the skill sets and the types of pieces that people were creating weren't all in a linear storytelling fashion. And we got pieces that were all over the place, and very interesting things that were set up to be distributed on the web. So a little bit longer in format, things that told stories in different ways, experientially, and pieces that were made to be almost like more content pieces than ads.
So what are some of the categories?
Well, so at that point we didn't have a category. As we saw these various pieces, we said, wow, these are all different. What if we started creating some categories? So we started breaking down the categories. So here we are now 10 years into the Next Awards. We have 8 categories, but unlike the show, which is really a craft-based category, these are platform-based categories. So we talk about mobile, we talk about social, we talk about experiential, we talk about viral pieces, web films, we talk about websites. But the one thing that stayed true in the Next Awards is that as it developed into its own show and we split it off from the AICP show, is it was always meant to be a deep examination of what was happening. So while we have many judges that look at the work, and we have its own curatorial group of blue ribbon people that put together the end piece, we do interviews of those curators, and we cut films to get the thinking about why they thought that was important work.
So do you see the two shows maybe merging a little bit in the future? Because broadcast is merging into the internet is becoming one, it's all splitting into all these different factions, and so and there needs to be creativity in each one of them. Are maybe the two shows going to merge? One
thing that is interesting is way back, when we started the show, it was a commercial was defined as something that was broadcast. And a few years later, we had to change that definition to a commercial including something called cable, which was just emerging. And a few years after that, we had to include in theater. And so, it was about 15 years ago when we finally realized, even commercials in their format were starting to be viewed in different ways in different places. And we just sort of broke down all barriers and stopped trying to define what the outlet was. So even the show itself that is showing linear storytelling is dominated now by pieces that are developed for the web and for other screens and other interactions with the audience. The thing that keeps that separate is they are still linear stories. It's still about the highest craftsmanship. And I think that's really interesting that people have brought that to the Next Awards as a definition and as a lens to look at that work through. Because, that's really what the AICP Awards in general stands for.
That's awesome. That's very interesting. So, well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Elucidating everything. I've learned so much. I really appreciate it. And welcome to Dallas.
Thank you. Time for some barbecue.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.